Well, hello there. Hi. Oh, Dark Meta is here first. Frist. Dark Meta's here first. Okay. Well, as you say. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of weird. Oh, it's a new one. I couldn't resist. I saw it on Temu, and I could not resist this hat. There. Okay. And now if I start suddenly rhyming words, I've been influenced. Okay. So it's always interesting to try and get on the show. Had a little fun with the technology, but I'm here. So, namaskaram. Whatever that is, beloved abstract, and right back at ya. Hey, Witch Moon, how's it going? Mm. Hi, I am D Ocean Swagger with D Ocean's Deep Blue, and this is my channel, and welcome to the channel. And so tonight, it's just kind of a romp through the what the F is happening. I mean, seriously, we've got the craziest mob happening right now. So let's see. We're talking about solar flares and solar flash. We're talking about the codes coming in from the great central sun. And we're talking about and I think one of the most pressing things is Matt Gaetz and ET. It's Matt Gaetz and Alien. What brought all this on? Well, have you seen Matt Gaetz? You know, I mean, if you never saw Matt Gaetz, you need to take a look at him. For me, though, I mean, from the moment I looked at him, I'm like, you know, a guy who really would not need a whole lot of makeup to be some kind of alien species on Star Trek. People pretty, who literally he looks like, and I've heard this from more than one person. This is not trying to make fun of him, because he's not really like ugly or anything, but he looks like a grown-up Eddie Munster. There's just something about him. He doesn't look real. He doesn't quite look, there's just something about him that just doesn't quite look real. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Part of it's his hair. Part of it is, I think, the whole upper, from like the eyebrow, from the eyes up. That whole area, it almost looks like it's fake. But he does kind of look like Eddie Munster. But it does kind of look, I really don't know what there is about him, but it's a kind of a unique shape. But there's more to it than that. It's the attitude, you know. He's kind of got a different attitude He's almost, how can I say it? He's very self-confident. Um, and I've heard him, I've heard his questions to people. He doesn't give a, you know, he doesn't give a bleep what they think of his questions. I mean, whether they like him or not. Now they finally have gotten, that old saying is like, shit or get off the pot, basically, is they've taken all this time, 3 weeks, and they finally elected a new speaker. His name is Mike something or other in our country here, a new Speaker of the House. Now, this guy, why is it important? Whoever is the Speaker of the House, it's the same reason we breathed a sigh of relief when we saw P. Lousy step down, okay? Because P. Lousy was Speaker of the House, and we took one look at the Biden regime, and we said, oh my God, if anything happens to old Uncle Joe Sniffer and Camel Toe, then we've got P. Lousy. And P. Lousy would be like the death of most of us, probably. I mean, she wouldn't give a darn. Talk about one of the, I mean, let me get this on a minute here. I mean, she tries to spin the attack on her husband into some sort of an attack on the right, which is funny because the guy that actually literally hammered her husband was of all things from Canada, an illegal migrant from Canada, right? And she's there trying to make it look like somehow this is the fault of the Republicans or something, the Trump supporters or something. I'm like, oh boy. But yeah, Speaker of the House is who ends up being head of the country if the initial two, the president and the VP, go down somehow, are kaput. Okay, so that's why it's important in American politics. So, oh yeah, do I look naked? That's why I put this on, is because some people think when I wear these things that I'm naked. Okay. Anyway, so basically we a lug nut, a nut job. With my bare face hanging out. You know what? I hate to tell you, but under these clothes, I am totally naked. Look away if you want. But yep, love you guys. Sticking with Waldo. Ah ha 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 ha. Hi Chloe. How you doing? Hi Scotty. So basically, uh, so making dinner and listening. Okay, Witchy, who hammered Pelosi's hubby is a nut job. Yeah, he is. He's a nut job. He's an illegal immigrant from illegal migrant from Canada, the other border of all things. But you got to admit, as far as a crazy person, he was a very polite crazy person. Yep. So anyway, that's the big deal as to who Speaker of the House is. So basically, if anything happens to Camel Toe and Joe Sniffer, then we have whoever this guy is, and his name is Mike something. I don't know a thing about him. I never heard of him. He's a Republican, and I hear he's on the conservative side. That's all I know about him so far. But when Matt Gaetz just single-handedly decided to get rid of McCarthy, I actually was kind of happy about that because, frankly, it shows some initiative. I mean, at least somebody was doing something, I mean, and they're pulling the same trick that Nancy Pelosi used. That she did the same thing when they were, I mean, she didn't ask anybody when she decided to go after Trump. She just went after him. So, he used basically her own tactics. So I was looking at it and going, okay, well, somebody's doing something anyway. He believed that this person wasn't doing their job. And actually, I don't think I think all of us are just tired of millions of dollars of tax money and our money going to Ukraine and not to us. I mean, we're going down the tubes. Let's face it. And so old Joe is like shoveling money out the door just as fast as he can. He's spinning like a drunken freaking sailor. We're actually falling to where we're not going to be the world currency anymore. So that is going to make a lot of difference in our buying power. We're to the point where somebody was saying, I remember, I hear somebody was talking about how we're not really in a position to, wage war. Although old Joe is walking right into war. He's walking, oh my God, he's like, well, he's doing it just like he does his walking. He just right into a brick wall, right into war. Okay, so he's basically definitely determined that we're going to have war, and this is a kind of a strategy that people pull when they're trying to get a second term when they're not sure they're going to get a second term, because Americans very famously don't change presidents during war usually. So if you want to get a second term, but you're not entirely sure, and I mean, old Joey sounds sure. Why, we don't know. We don't know who's advising him. But, yep, it's... Hi, Dolly. Hello, Dolly. Well, hello. Uh, yeah. Steal your car, but leave you with bus money. Yeah, there you go. I think he very politely hammered Paul. He was polite about it, even though he was in his underwear. Here's another thing about him. He was in his underwear. It was very. Wasn't there. There was an irony in it, though. Paul was obviously hammered, and then he got hammered before he was hammered, and apparently. Anyway, there's so many hammered jokes that we can make about that it's kind of tasteless and rude, and so I'm here for it. So, but so anyway, we finally have a Speaker of the House, and that just was. But for 3 weeks, the whole issue of what happens with the Biden crime family syndicate, it just goes poof, it's gone. It's not nobody's doing anything about it. It's just gone for 3 weeks. So they finally did something, thank goodness. I mean, it's about time. So anyway, he's an open wearing man like Scotty. There you go. I don't know that he's Scotty's type, though. And we're still wondering what kind of party they were having that night. But yeah. See, that's what I was thinking. Is what Scotty said right there. That's what I was thinking. So, what exactly was going on that night? Who knows? Anyway, so we got a Speaker of the House. Finally. My gosh. And it only took us 3 weeks. But Matt Gaetz, when he ousted him, I thought that was a good thing, and I thought it was a gutsy thing. But if you ever saw the way Matt Gaetz asked questions, he is one of those very kind of cocky smartasses, which is good because I mean, it's kind of fun to watch him question people, and he doesn't really and it's like he doesn't really care. He's got that kind of he's kind of gangsta in his own way, but he's just weird looking, kind of weird looking, and he has an attitude. Like I said, he has an attitude that's different too. I mean, there's just something about this guy. So I went to an anagram. There's an anagram online site. Okay. So what are the anagrams of his name? And don't you know? Because I didn't want to sit there and work it out myself. Just to find out if there's anything in his name, Matt Gaetz, because I mean, he's Gates, but it's spelled different from Billy Bob, from Billy Gates. But he's still Gates, right? So what if people's impression when they see him is, whatever they see him as, And actually, he screams non-human. He screams like alien. Really, he screams some kind of ET. Maybe a hybrid, or maybe not a hybrid. You know, I don't think AI. I'm not. I don't know. Um, I think though, yeah. I don't think I've ever seen his eyebrows move. Are they real? I don't know. Right. So, yeah, all that hammering going on there. What was really going on there? But yeah, so I'm looking at the anagrams. So what words are in his name? Well, a couple of the words that are in there, there, and this is a site where you can type things in and take, and it gives you all of the words that could be made out of that, whatever you're typing in. So the name Gaetz, two of the things that it spits out on him is Zeta, which is a type of alien, and also ET. ET is right in the middle of his name, Gates. And I'm there. I thought I was joking. I thought it was just joking. Is Matt Gaetz and ET? I thought we were just kidding around about that. What if we're not kidding around about that? What if it's not a joke? We just think it is. What would that be? What would be going on there? Because one of the things he was saying was, "Oh, I don't care." The way he was acting, it was odd. When people criticized him for that, he was like, "Okay, whatever. You want me to resign? You want me to do this? You want me to redo that? Whatever it is, whatever it is, whatever." He's just so whatever that I'm like, there's something very different about this guy. He's not typical at all. Of it, he doesn't really come off much like anybody in that business that I've seen. So yeah, and like I said, I think part of the thing is that I don't believe I've ever seen anything from about his brow line up ever move. I know my eyebrows are all over the place, right? But I'm very expressive. But yeah, with him, they look like they're glued on, like he's got a prosthetic piece glued on his forehead. So just like Star Trek. So anyway, tag. Yeah, Gaetz is Gaetz Z. Gaetz Gaetz. Gaetz. There's no Y in there. But yeah, it's spelled Gaetz. It's kind of like a southern drawl spelling of Gates. Gaetz. It's Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz. Tag. Tag, you're it. The tag. The tag, you are the it. Oh la la. Yeah. I don't know, dudes. I don't know. It's like I'm waiting to hear what you think. But, you know, maybe we're wrong, but I'm not the only person who's noticed that about him. And that he just, there's just something about him, not just the way he looks, but the way he acts as well is really different. And then he comes up and does this thing, right? So I don't know. Could he be one of the white hat types? That was the thing, trying to figure out, is he actually one of the white hats? I mean, considering that there wasn't any real plan when they ousted McCarthy, there didn't seem to be any real consensus as to who they wanted. So that seat was pretty much, they had somebody temporary there, but that was an empty seat. Now, if something would have happened to Joe and Cammie, the seat would have been empty. And then what? Where do you go from there? And that's how bizarre of a position we were in. And so here's this guy, and I mean, we all know Joe is kind of on his last tentacle, right? He looks like he is. And probably, I'm not too sure, but I mean, that puts whoever that is just that much closer to being president. And we don't know anything about this guy. I don't know anything about this guy, but this guy is actually, if anything happens to those two, could end up president. So weird times we're living in, folks. Yeah, the new speaker guy. I don't know, somebody with the last name Gaetz. Okay. Oh, you've never seen him before. Matt Gaetz is from the is Republican from the House, and he single-handedly ousted McCarthy, who was the Speaker of the House. He did it by himself. He just ousted him. He was taking Nancy Pelosi's lead. There wasn't any rules against just ousting the guy all on his own. Think about that. It's something that at least that's the way it was explained in the one video, and I'm like, it was the same kind of tactic. It didn't have to be unanimous to oust somebody. I didn't know that. You would think in a position like that, this is third person down from the top, and you can just single-handedly oust them. I mean, doesn't that seem a bit odd? There, no vote, nothing, no vote. So, yeah, he's from the South. I think he might be Florida. He might be from Florida. Yeah, Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is the guy that they put in there. They finally, just today, finally put in Mike Johnson, whoever he is. Boy, is there ever a more generic name than Mike Johnson? That name is so freaking generic, and I've never heard of him. But he's third down. He's third in line for president. If anything happens to the first two, he's the guy. And that's where we are in the United States right now. We could end up with a guy that not only have we never heard of, but we didn't vote for him or anything, Anyway, yeah, he's a Republican. Yeah, John Johnson is maybe the only name I could think of that would be even more generic than Mike Johnson. You know, he's not even going by Michael. He's going by Mike. You know, like mic drop. So, yeah, I'm just sitting there and going, well, these are interesting times. Okay. If you guys get a chance and you don't know who I'm talking about, I wish that I had the ability to bring them up on. I wish I had the ability to switch and show you who I'm talking about. But he's also, now this is the interesting thing. He also was bringing up the whole question of disclosure. Is a really major backer of us getting disclosure. And he has seen the UAP, AUP, whatever they're calling them now, unidentified aerial phenomena. Okay. That was part of the disclosure thing. And so he's actually been very outspoken that we should have disclosure. So, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, when I look at him, for some reason, I just think ET, and he's some kind of ET. But then again, I feel that way about melamena. I used to call her melanoma, but her name is Melania. And no disrespect intended. It was just a joke. I used to call her melanoma. But Melania looks like an ET. I swear, straight up. She looks like she had the makeup done like the alien eyes and everything. I mean, you look at her and you're going, oh, yeah, definitely ET. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Just sitting down for dinner with Hubs. Oh, the hubby. I was going to say with Hubs. Okay, baby. See you later, Witchy. There's always John Johnson. Bum, 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 John Johnson. Goodbye. Huge Jazz. Old Gator Hunter. Okay. You Jackman, you mean? Huge Jackman, right? Yeah, I mean, what a name, Hugh Jackman, right? I mean, I can only imagine what that would have been like growing up with that name, right? I know in my school what would have happened. I know what kind of nicknames and merriment would ensue. But so anyway, Matt, I didn't even look up what the anagrams could be made with Matt, but Tam, I don't know, amped, I don't know, Matthew, math me, math. Is Emmett? What are you emitting tonight? Okay, love witchy. Hope it tastes really good. I made some good stuff tonight. Dang. Now that I have healed myself of my allergy to tomatoes. That opens a world. That opens a world to me. And I had really good spaghetti. My recipe, my own recipe that I call fried spaghetti. Okay. And you know how you have spaghetti leftovers and it's better the next day because you mix it in with the sauce, you mix the spaghetti in with the sauce and you put it away and then you take it back out again and you cook it. And it's better the second day than it is the first day because all of the flavors cooked into the spaghetti. If you've ever done that. And a lot of people call it fried spaghetti for that reason because it's without, you're cooking it without water, any extra water or anything in it. And you're kind of cooking it dry. So, but I make my own version of fried spaghetti, first day fried spaghetti. So I made that tonight and it's really good. So you like spaghetti with white sauce? Me too. I love spaghetti with like what do they call it? Alfredo. 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 Get over here. Alfredo. Hey, Alfredo. I can't do an Italian accent. I don't know how. Alfredo. Batman's trusted staff, right? Oh, yeah. And so, um, I had that. That was really tasty. And of course, I had found in there some provolone cheese. I put a little provolone cheese in there and mixed it in there. So we got the cheese pull type spaghetti, spaghetti with a little bit of cheese pull to it, the gooey cheese pull. It was absolutely heavenly. And then I had that with a nice glass of Winking Owl sangria. So my stomach is very, very, very happy. And I every now and then I like a glass of wine, nice wine with my dinner. Not all the time, but just specifically though with spaghetti for some reason. I guess, I for some reason spaghetti and a glass of wine is so good together. Oh, so you make yours with ketchup and Velveeta. Well, bless your heart, beloved abstract. You broke my heart. Fredo. Okay. Fredo got what was coming. Oh gosh. You guys really seriously. Fredo. Fredo. So spaghetti with ketchup and Velveeta. Okay. His soul went with the Virgin. So anyway, that is my little thing about Matt Gaetz being an ET, maybe. It just looks like one. And he just kind of acts like one. I mean, wouldn't if you were not really a part of this culture, but maybe you're somebody that's sent to help this, maybe you're somebody that's helping this culture, but you're not really a part of this culture. Then, because of the way he was going, well, I don't care if they do this to me. I don't care if they do that to me. It's cocky enough that it's almost like, yeah, like wouldn't you act like that if maybe if somebody else was paying your wages, or B, if it didn't really freaking matter to you whether or not you had that job, if that job was not your primary income, or I don't know. It's just the attitude he has about the job. There's just something about it, because a lot of those people they find themselves a nice cushy spot and they just want to be there forever. But he doesn't seem to freaking care. So it's like, huh, interesting. Interesting. Pure government sketty. You're right. Ketchup and Velveeta. Oh, government sketty. Yike. Oh, ketchup packets. Those are the best. You know what? Ketchup packets, I've been off of ketchup and tomatoes for so long. Um, except for just recently, but I was off of them for so long that when I would taste ketchup on something, it would taste like, basically to me, ketchup tastes like tomato jam. It's so sweet. It's almost not like a vegetable. It's definitely more fruit like. Well, it is a fruit. I mean, technically tomatoes are fruit, not a vegetable, but it really tastes more like fruit. And especially from the ketchup packets. Yes, Pam. I was wondering if you were going to show up. I had a feeling you might show up tonight. Yeah, did you leave this the last time you astral traveled through here? It's the cat in the hat. Oh, you only like Trader Joe's ketchup anymore. You got spoiled on purity. Mhm. No, I used to do that when I was a kid, I think. Dip my fries in the ketchup packet. Yep. hmm So Pam I Am is here. I've done that before too, Chloe. Gently squeeze them on every fry. When I was a kid, every fry had to have its own little dollop or stripe, right? If it was a long fry, it had to have a stripe. So, yep. So, and it's mostly sugar. It really is. So now you know why we loved it so much. Specifically McDonald's fries, which are dipped in sugar, right? To get crispy. That way they were always dipped in sugar to get crispy, and then we would put the sugary ketchup on it. And we were really eating candy and didn't know it. And the grown-ups didn't know either, but we were secretly eating candy. So, mhm. Yeah, free ketchup waste is such a crime, right? Yep, it's a crime. I use, you know what? Here's the funny thing too is and really my helper, it drove my helper crazy because I don't really eat out at very many places. The place that I get takeout food, I make like 90% of my own food. Um, at the only takeout place I get from most all the time, and I get it from there maybe once a month, is the Chinese food place where you can see in the kitchen, you can see them prepare it, because that's pretty safe. I mean, if you can watch them prepare your food, you know, I watch them prepare my food. That's for me, that's a plus. Okay, so that's the place I go, and I know they don't use MSG. So that's where I go to get when I'm getting fast food. That's one of the very, very few places I'll even touch fast food. It's an express Chinese place. And I take the packets that they give me of the different sauces and I save them and I use them on all kinds of other things when I'm cooking. So I'm using, the hot mustard and the soy sauce and the duck sauce and whatever that they're putting in there. I use the sauces that I get from wherever to cook with. Uh, you almost ate a whole package of graham crackers without noticing. Jeez. I never do anything like that. I have never done anything like that. Oh, you prepaid your own food. They were Annie's, though, so you don't need to worry. Or do you? I don't know. Annie's graham crackers. Ooh, that reminds me. I'm not reacting to regular bread. Well, organic bread. I bought some organic bread to try and I'm fine. I can have organic bread. I'm not even going to try the stuff that ain't. And I'm going to be kind of careful about the organic bread even. But so I got, what is it? Brad's bread, the multigrain type stuff. It's really good. You can taste the molasses in it and everything. It's really delicious. It's moist and has the molasses and all the different seeds in there. Um, so I got some of that and I really am enjoying being able to eat that. So now I have added that back into my life, but in very limited terms. So I really enjoyed the spaghetti tonight, but it's organic. It was all organic, organic sauce, organic spaghetti, and pastured meat in the sauce. So everything was organic and pastured and pure and all that stuff. So, and I don't seem to react to that. So I'm very, very, very happy that I've cured that now because that was something I've had all my darn life. Okay. You guys don't understand how big this is. This was a huge problem my whole life. And now it's gone and I'm not having those rashes anymore. And they were like dark red, weeping, painful rashes that I would get when I get just a little bit too much of that. Horrible. So I don't, and they smelled bad. It was awful. And like I said, I think I got that. I inherited that, but that was a generational curse type of thing. So I'm so happy. Friend brought me some of his famous soup. He barely chops the veggies, so they're all great big chunks. Oh, oh, that's nice. Emmett, you had a whole turkey when you went to bed, woke up and not a sign of it. Oh, jeez. You ate a whole turkey? Yeah, soup with attitude. There you go. Thank you, Scotty. Yes, please shower me with some praise because I managed to cure that. I managed to get it off of me, off of my back. I managed to get it out of me, whatever that was that ran through my family, it is no longer running through me. So you can do that. You can actually do that. So, and I encourage everybody to give it a shot. Really, really think about if you got something like that. There's ways. I had to stay away from it though for years, just to make sure. Had to stay away from all that stuff for years and then try it. And and the protocol is if you react, you try it, you stay away a long time, then if you react, you try a little bit. If you react at all, you have to put it away for a long time again. So I was just so in the habit, it was so hard to avoid, but it just so happened that during the lockdowns, there wasn't hardly anywhere to eat anyway. And so I just avoided it. And then I gradually avoided gluten as well. I had been avoiding nightshades, all nightshades. And then I decided gluten and sugar too. And then I decided to take the vinegar protocol, which was the apple cider vinegar, the shots of apple cider vinegar for 3 days in the morning and in the evening, a whole shot. It's not easy. First day, I accidentally ended up consuming a whole cup of vinegar, and that kept me in the bathroom for a while, and it will. You will go to the bathroom for a while. But I got rid of whatever it was, so it's gone. So that means possibly that was part of what was causing the problem was fungus, was Candida. And Candida is the stuff that's supposed to help your body decompose when you die. But if you have an overgrowth, it starts early. Mm-hmm. Hey, Drake. Thank you. Oh, beloved abstract, the lockdown we had a few years ago during COVID. There were not that many places to go, so I ended up making all my own food and having a lot more control over my food, and absolutely no nightshades whatsoever for the space of several years. Then, like, I don't know, 3 years. So, yeah. Yeah, and honestly, that's another thing I did. I did a parasite cleanse. Candida is not Canada, but Candida. My Candida, we can make it together. No, it's Candida albicans is what it is, and most people have a Candida albicans infection, don't know it. I'd say probably a good 80% of everybody has at least a low-grade Candida infection. Yep. Oh, Candida. No, sorry, Canadians. Okay, forgive me. But, if you're going to heckle me in a polite way, okay? That Canadian way you have. If you're going to hit me with a hockey stick, do it politely. No, nightshades are actually a family of plant that contains solanine. Solanine is a nasty lectin that some people are very sensitive to. Namely, I was one. It ran in my family to be sensitive to nightshades, which My mother would not acknowledge, and so she kept hurting herself. It's like you're losing your widow mind that you haven't had a cold in years. You haven't had a cold in years. Oh, isn't that cute? Isn't that cute, Emmett? It's so cute. Emmett, it says, haven't had a cold in years. Kind of interesting. It feels like I'm losing my widow mind. Are you a widow? I didn't know that about you. But no, little. I think you mean little. Whittle. Oh, you have Candida parasite. Well, Candida is not the same as parasites. Candida is a fungus. Um, Nightshade is everything in the tomato family, which is tomatoes, eggplants, and the literal nightshade flower. Bear, and there that has berries, by the way. But also there are other things in the nightshade family. White potatoes, but they're less dangerous because they're the root. But any of the plants that grow above ground contain solanine. And solanine is a plant lectin because plants are trying to kill you because they don't want to be eaten any more than the animals do. And so they produce these toxins um, to turn things away from eating them. And solanine is one of the lectins. So, and some of some lectins can be cooked away, which might be, I mean, and mostly the lectins are in the seeds and the skin. So that explains why stuff prepared the old fashioned way, which is minus the seeds and skins, and sieve through a cheesecloth to make sure you didn't have any of that in there was okay. And I didn't have the problem with my Aunt Bee's because she made it the really old fashioned way. Whereas most other stuff I would. So parasites love sugar. Candida loves sugar. Candida is a fungus. Yeah, everybody has just some amount of Candida. Parasite mind. Called parasite mind. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeast infections. People who have yeast infections definitely have an overabundance of Candida. Mm-hmm. So I had all kinds of things running around in affecting me, and going back to when I was a kid, really, and going back all the way back. So I remember getting such a horrific rash from eating a bunch of tomatoes that my mother called the doctor and thought I was dying. Yeah. Yeah. Canada can do all kinds of nasty things. Yeah. And then there's gluten. Gluten can also clog you up because it's gluten. Actually, most of the stuff that's crispy in bread, the stuff that's crispy is gluten, and elasticy is gluten. So that's why they use high gluten bread, flour in some things, is to make that really crusty crust, that really crackly, crusty crust. But it isn't good for you. Yeah, I know. I was singing that beloved abstract. Oh, Candida, we can make it together. Further from here now, the better, where the air is fresh and clean. Yeah, I remember that one. Yes, it is a strong smell. Yes, it is a distinctive smell. So basically, yeah, I would break out, and it was like I could smell it before I, sometimes even before I broke out. I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to break out. Something must have had, you know, something is triggering the candida, the rash, which turned out to be candida. So I did the vinegar protocol and got rid of the candida for basically, like I said, shots of. Thanks to Me Woman for that. Me Woman's the one that told me about that. Is it's shots of vinegar, apple cider vinegar, a whole shot in the morning before you eat anything, and a whole shot and at night before you eat your dinner every day for 3 days. And a whole shot, chugging a shot of apple cider vinegar can really take your breath away. Right, Roundup contaminated flour. Right there. Right there. Roundup contaminated flour. That's another thing. Roundup contaminated flour is absolutely the worst stuff. I mean, it's deadly, and there's a lot of it about. See, what happens with the gluten, I think, what actually is happening is you've got something that's toxic, and the gluten being gluey is gluing it to your insides. It's literally gluing this stuff on the inside of your intestines, right? So it's gluing the toxins on the walls of your intestines, is what I think is happening there. So, but I'm going to be very careful to make sure that I don't over gluten myself. Yeah, 2 shots a day for 3 days, and it's kind of specific. You got to do it before you eat in the morning, and you got to do it before you eat at night, and then 3 days. That's what it is. And then that worked. Of course, I gave myself a big boost by accidentally consuming a whole cup of it the first day and almost dying. I thought I was going to die. I got the measurements wrong. I didn't have a shot glass, and I was trying to use cups like measuring cups, and I got the measurement wrong. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, do I have to drink that? Well, it turned out I drank a whole cup the first day. So I really was going to put that stuff down. But then, yeah, then you're free and you're done. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's absolutely horrible. But it's worth 3 days of, I know, it's worth 3 days of that. Well, I already did it. Already did it and got rid of the candida that way. No, it was 3 days of that protocol, and now it's over. I don't need it anymore. So that was the protocol, though, and probably a lot safer than anything we're going to get from the pharmaceutical companies. I mean, you can say what you want. It's probably still safer than anything they'd give me for it from the pharmaceutical companies. But, 3 days, it's all. Didn't kill me. Oh, I've got an alkaline machine. I got an alkaline pitcher. I've also got a hydrogenating machine to hydrogenate the water. So yeah, around the time when I'm taking my medicine, I've got very alkaline water, so I'm not in any danger of over acidifying myself or anything. I'm not really in any danger. But I guess that stuff kills Canada, really kills it, like smashes it. And then after 3 days, you're okay and free to go. Huh? You don't have any more problem with it. Bad batch of flour or something. You know what? There's actually flour. Like I said, there's this weird high gluten stuff that they've got to make it crustier. And that stuff is weird. That stuff is freaky. I don't trust that stuff. Oh yeah, I have kefir. Oh yeah, I drink kefir. Castor oil. You mean all that stuff that Justin puts on his hair? Okay. Well, no, I already did the ACV protocol and it's all over now, so you have no worries, okay? You don't have to worry about me. It worked. It killed the candida without killing me, so I'm cool. I feel fine. It's only 3 days. Your body can handle that. Your body can handle 3 days of that. Come on. Considering what we've already had, considering that we've been living under glyphosate for these many years and haven't died, glyphosate's terrible. Absolutely terrible. You can't hardly make up how horrible this stuff is, and they're using it on our food, you know, and using that lovely gluten to glue it right to the inside of our intestines so it ain't going away. Yeah, every now and then I want a sandwich, or every now and then I want a piece of toast with my eggs. But yeah, I'm really careful not to overdo bread anymore. I'm just not. I don't do bread, and if I do bread, it's going to be like I said. This is like Brad's bread, organic and all that. Organic multigrain, very tasty, moist with that molasses flavor. Mm, good stuff. Yeah. Kiefer Sutherland. Well, he's kind of when he was younger, he was kind of tasty, but I don't know anymore. Now that he's an old guy, nah, not so tasty. But kefir is fermented milk. It's kind of like drinkable yogurt, and I love this stuff. I love kefir. I do. I have peach kefir in there right now, peach and mango kefir. It's delicious. Oh, I love bread too, but well, no, somehow it killed the candida. The candida's gone. I'm not having those rashes anymore. It's over. So somehow it worked. I think possibly, if you think about it, but if it was going to die from alkaline and kefir, no, it would have been dead because all I have is alkaline water and kefir, and even my coffee is made with alkaline water. Okay, I cook with alkaline water. I don't cook with tap water. I don't use tap water for anything but washing dishes and stuff. Okay, so if it was going to die from alkaline and kefir, it would have it would have done that. Now that did help. I got to say, it did help that I was taking that. However, I think probably certain organisms live within a range of alkaline, acid, and quite possibly the vinegar put it outside the range what the candida could stand, and so it died. But in its death throes, that's another thing. You have a period of time where you have the die off, and during the die off period, you will get horrendous rashes. And I never told you guys. I don't think if I mention them at all, I barely mention them because they are nasty and smelly and horrible and painful. And who wants to hear about that when you have that? And I just stayed away from people because they smelled bad, those sores. And they were really like sores. I mean, they were horrible. So those are all gone now. Those are gone. So whatever the acid range was, it was out of the range of that organism, and the organism died. So we got it. And I don't care. I'm fine. And I'm not, dying. And it's not coming back because, like I said, I'm already doing the alkaline and kefir thing. So I don't think it's going to come back. Yeah. Yeah, the problem is that with all the alkaline stuff I was doing, it was still there. So basically, though, sometimes to kill something, you have to find a way that it can't live, but you can. Something that you can live through, but it can't. That's what I think that happened there. I think that's what that was. I could live through it, but it couldn't live through it. So, I mean, if you can live, that's the way that a lot of the medicine they give you is. It's something you can live through, but the disease can't, or it used to be that way. It's something that hurt the disease. And I mean, even though it wasn't maybe great for you, it wasn't going to kill you, but it was going to kill the disease. Hey, James. Hi, Rowan. Well, I know. I've done my research on the pH, and I've done my research on that. I was one of the first people I know that had an alkaline water dispenser. I saved up and got myself one of the old expensive kind. One of the Japanese expensive that you could even make strong alkaline water. So, and that was really a lifesaver. I think it was, because that made a lot of difference. It didn't fix it, but it made a lot of difference. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Rowan, and welcome to the channel. And by the way, if you guys want to help the channel, please like, share, subscribe, and do that stuff. Please. And everyone in London dresses to the nines. There you go, cold beer and sticky buds. Yeah, I love my alkaline water, and it tastes very good too. And now that I got my hydrogen water maker, that's very good too. If you haven't tried hydrogen water, give it a shot. And if you need to find an alkaline or a hydrogenator machine, let me help you find one if you don't mind on Temu, and I'll get 20%. Because I got one and I got it pretty reasonable. But yeah, if you use my link, I get 20%. So please let me be the one to help you fine to help you shop for that item if you want to shop for that item, because that's where I got mine. And I really like it. I really do. I really love my hydrogenator. It is, it does feel different when you drink hydrogen water. And you'll find the cookies. Well, thank you, dear. Thank you, Ron. No, I'm not. No, no, no. I don't, you know, like I said on the show, it's like, I just tell them, no, I said it on John's show. I just tell them I'm allergic to the adjuvant. Could put me in the hospital. No, that adjuvant, I'm terribly allergic, you know. Of course, all of you are allergic to adjuvants. Bad news. But I have a known history of having allergens, having bad allergies. So um, when I say I have an allergy to something and it could put me in the hospital, they have a tendency to listen. So after that, my doctor never bothered me about, anything whack. No Jabberwocky talks or anything. Oh, yeah, I have copper. I have copper cups. Yep. I have a Moscow Mule. I have a set of Moscow Mule mugs. Yeah, medicine became exactly no. Me too, Scotty. I'm allergic to stupid people. They make me break out and um, want to go away. I was just for a while there, I was adding allergies while I was married. And it was weird. It was like I was just gaining allergies for a while. And now in the subsequent years since I've been unmarried, I've been losing my allergies. I've been in the progress of losing my allergies. Gradually, I'm getting rid of them. Yep, I don't have a copper pitcher yet, but I do have copper mugs. So, yep, I got me a set of Moscow Mule mugs. So, anyway, I wanted to talk about the solar thing that happened. There was something that I wanted to say when I was talking to when we had Alex on, because he had asked me about the solar flash, the show before that one. He'd asked me about that, and I said I'd have to think about it because I've been getting mixed messages, but really I think that's going to be kind of an individual thing. It's not going to be for everybody the same thing. Okay, same time, same scenario. So let me explain. We think we're in the same world. We're not. We're just in very similar worlds. You will experience your ascension when it is the right time for you to experience your personal ascension. And in the way that it's right for you to experience it is what I've been getting on this for a little while now. For some people, it will be with a solar flash. I have before anybody was ever talking about any of this solar flash stuff, I actually had a dream that would fit solar flash about being in one of those. And I didn't know what it was. I had this dream when I was very young. And back then, well, I'll tell you about it. Back then, it was such a weird dream. It was very Star Trek times that I was in. I mean, in the situation I was in, we were in something like a library. Remember, I talk about the library all the time. That's where I work, spend most of my time, which may be what they call a minty. But I believe this might have been, I don't know whether, see, when you find out that time really doesn't exist and things are not linear, then that leaves everything in question as to whether this is future or past, or is it to come, or has it already come and gone? Is that the way I went the last time? I don't know. But the way that it happened in my dream was we were in the holographic library, which was a very um, it was a very Star Trek atmosphere there. It was big, and the way that we read books there, the way that it was like at that time it was like a movie that you were actually experiencing. It was like The Matrix almost, but there was a little bit of a layer in between, like you could look away. We all had our feet. We were all sitting around in chairs, in comfortable chairs, with our feet on this box, and somehow putting your feet on the box, you could see and leaning back in the chair, then you could see the hologram, and you were immersed. And then when you looked to the side and took your feet off of it, you were out of it. And then you were back in. So you could pull yourself out of it, right? So we're watching a nature show on things like soil erosion and something kind of boring and educational, actually, but it was kind of educational. And we're watching that, but then I'm feeling something and I'm wondering if it was the sense around type thing or if it was real. And then I'm like looking around and I pull myself out of that and I'm looking around and I'm noticing people are running, the blast door is coming down, and it literally was like a blast door, a great big blast door that was coming down. And we had some kind of sirens going off. We had, it was getting very warm. And I'm going, oh, here it is. And people were running, and I'm there thinking, well, why are they running? It's like that Prince song, trying to run from our destruction. I didn't even care. And I'm thinking, yeah, they're not going to run from this. You can't run from this. It's impossible to run from. So I just kind of sat back and said, well, it'll be interesting to see what the process is like. But I didn't have a name for it, you know. hmm So, does that library have actual floors? Yeah, it was physical. But be honest, Steve, the Sagittarius experience is bizarre. Yeah. Oh, honeycomb. Yeah, I have some of that too. Oh, really? Copperware parties. I never was at that. I never was at that. But anyway, what what I um experienced, back to what I experienced at that time, was I looked around and there were decorations on the wall. And one of the decorations was a planet, a sphere that I guess was meant to represent a planet. And under that was this thing that was water, meant to represent water. and things melted off of the walls. This thing, I remember the ball melted off the wall and fell in the water. And I'm like, oh, there we go. And it was getting very warm, and the walls were getting so hot that stuff was melting off the walls. And I thought, gee, I wonder what it's going to be like. Well, it got very bright. And I'm there like, oh, okay, so, yep, but it'll go dark because my eyes will fry, was my thought. When my eyes fry, it's going to be, get destroyed, and then it's going to be dark. And it did start to get dark for like a minute, and then all of a sudden it got bright again. It got very bright. And in my body, I felt heat, but I didn't feel pain. And it was really too short of an experience for your body to really feel that pain. But it's almost like if you've ever had anything so freaking hot that you can't even feel it until later when it's sore. That's how it was. It was hot, but there really wasn't any pain yet because probably it was too fast. But then everything was light, and I was in a dimension of light, and I was fine. I felt great. I was not in any kind of fear. I was not in any kind of pain. And I said, oh, everything's going to be just fine. Everything's going to be fine. I'm fine. Everybody's fine. Everybody's just fine. There was just no worries, nothing. Everything was fine. So that was that experience, which I have to say was something like the experience when I went through the ceremony at Paul's place that he doesn't remember in this version of reality, where we went through the portal and it was very bright. It was all white. So, and then we heard voices telling us that our eyes would soon adjust. That it was just because we weren't used to that much light, and our eyes would soon adjust. So, yeah, you guys explain it to me, maybe. A Sagittarius experience, well, and so is the Ophiuchus, which is, if you go by the 13th sign, that's me. Oh, you were not allowed into the library. Orion is weird, yeah. Okay, now in 2012, that was at Paul's place. The dream that I had before that was when I was a kid, and I never forgot it. I was still in school. Yeah, Sirius is our binary, it's supposed to be our binary star. But you realize Sirius there's already Sirius A, B, and C. What's cis polus? I guess I'm out of the loop on what cis polus is. Orion is where a lot of the wars were going on. A lot of the people from Orion were not very nice. Apparently, it's a mixed bag, just like it is here, supposedly. But there were some people from Orion that are extremely warlike. and they were making war. Hi, no, I just touch touched on it. I told people just now what my experience was that I think was a pre I'm not sure, was it a precog of the solar flash? But my information that I was getting all the while that I was talking with Alex is that the solar flash is not going to be the same for all people, that we're not going to experience it the same, that it's not going to be necessarily because, first of all, that time is linear is a mistake. It's false. Time is not linear. It's something that we haven't really been able to understand or broach yet with our science very well. Um, so how you doing, Indie Groove? So what I'm getting very strongly, and actually there have been some other people that have gotten that too. There's more about the sun too that I have to tell you. It's more than just the solar flash. There are codes coming in through the sun. As a matter of fact, that's the way that the galactic core sun, the great central sun, distributes information and code. We're getting codes from the sun, the great central sun, all the time through our sun. Okay. And the sun is just kind of spraying out these codes on us all the time. So, okay. So, it's the best thing I can say is it is a vibrational shift, moving between what they're calling dimension, density, whatever. It's really a vibrational shift. It's a frequency shift. Okay. So it's a different frequency. So it's a faster frequency. And you know how waves are. Waves are not really sawtooth waves, they're spirals. Everything moves in a spiral, really. You know, energy moves in spiral waves on the side, but you turn it a little bit and you can see it's really a spiral. That's why you've got all these pictures of spiral. That's how they were doing, on ancient rock sculptures. You got a lot of spirals. Uh, Energy moves in spirals. But if you look at it from the side, it looks like a wave. It looks like it's just going up and down, but really it's going in a spiral. And I figured this out by myself a long time ago because this is what I was seeing. So what you're talking about is a frequency change. Okay. Once again, sounds a lot like a matrix, people. We're getting an upgraded OS. Okay. We're moving to a different server. You want to look at it that way. But and they've already said 5D is not out of the matrix. It's not yet out of the matrix, but from 5D, you can leave it. You can go elsewhere. So 5D is where the door is, apparently. Okay. So as far as right, that this can happen through a solar flash. Now, the latest information and what I have been getting too, and I'm not the only source that has been getting this, is that in my reality, in the version that I'm living in, we are getting to the point where the vibration is raising sufficiently that there may not need to be a solar flash. Some people are of the opinion that, or thinking that there has to be a solar flash for that kind of an evolution to occur, but this is not true. Apparently, this is not true. The solar flash would have actually been a beneficial thing that would ensure an instant sort of upgrade. But it may not be, it's looking like it may not even be necessary now. We may be able to do it naturally without the assistance of a solar flash. For some people, though, I mean, because we're all really in our own little worlds, for some people, the solar flash is going to happen. Now, here's what I've been taught over and over again. You are God. I am God. We have a choice. What do you want it to be like? What do you want your upgrade to be like? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? That's right. It goes in circles. Exactly, beloved abstract. Exactly. It's right. It vibrates in spirals. Absolutely. So I have been taught over and over again, and I keep hearing it in the back of my head. What is your choice? What is your choice? What is your choice? That means we have a choice. We have a choice. Do we want to experience a solar flash and suddenly be bloop? I think what I was experiencing in my dream was maybe from another one of my existences, another one of my lives. However, if I ever find myself in a holographic library, which oddly enough, back then it was like way out of like, oh, well, it had to be another life because it's certainly, we are not going to have anything like that in this life, right? There was nothing like that here. However, we are getting to that point where we could have a holographic library. We will probably have such a thing. Our technology is getting advanced enough to have that. So, did I already have the experience? Did I have this experience? Is that an experience from another life? Is that an experience from another phase of this life? And what happened back in 2012 to me then? I'm still asking questions about that. I'm trying to puzzle that together too. But it makes it even more difficult when you realize that we're just not used to thinking in nonlinear terms. We're used to thinking linear. We've been taught linear. We've been indoctrinated linear all our whole lives. So trying to think of this in nonlinear terms is the only way to solve it. And so I'm here to tell you it may not happen the same for everybody, and that's exactly the way it looks like. Evidence of melted stuff, yes, it looks like it's happened before. Right. Right, and we always think that it was ego imagining it, but you know what? When I was a kid, I hadn't heard of a solar flash. It was just later on when I heard of the solar flash that that dream came back to me, and I'm like, and I never forgot it. Let me tell you, when I woke up from that dream, I was hot. I had a fever for a short minute. I mean, I was hot everywhere. My skin, you would feel my skin. It was like I was burning hot for just a moment. And then I cooled right down again. But it was scary as fuck when I was a little kid. Are you kidding me? I wasn't really little. I was maybe preteens, teens, something like that. I can't remember the exact year, but I remember thinking to myself, whoa, what the heck was that? Right? And yeah, I was still, I woke up, it was very, very lucid dream, type thing. So what happened there was one of my other personas, one of my other fractals involved in that. And I was just feeling what happened to them. I'm not sure. Right. Yeah, you can't think your way out of a thinking box when you're indoctrinated to think a certain way. It's really weird. Right. In my dream, there was no name for that. I just knew it was something that we were expecting to happen. We're expecting it to happen. Oh, it was that thing. In my mind, it was just, oh, that thing that we were expecting to happen. So I was expecting it. So I was like, I knew that there was no escaping it. I might as well just relax and experience it. So, yeah, there wasn't any idea or mention of a solar flash in my dream, but it conforms to what they say a solar flash would be like. When I think about it, it's like, what would that be like? Well, that might be quite like what that dream was like. So, yeah, I've had people also say that too, is that we really did have an end of the world experience in 2012. And we got shifted. That's possible, I guess. It's as possible as anything else. And we weren't quite ready for it, so we got shifted here in order to. But now, if you think about it, the world has never been the same, has it? That's when the things really started to get weird, didn't it? Right? So that is why I'm bringing this up for discussion. Well, beloved abstract, I'm not afraid of it. No, I didn't dream it in 2012. This dream was way back. Remember, I'm 65. This was way back in like the 70s. Okay. We never heard of anything like that. The 70s. We thought we were going to get bombed out of existence with nukes. And it really wasn't anything like a nuclear blast. But yeah, we thought we were going to get killed with nukes, nuclear war. That's what they were telling us back then. Yeah, quantum entanglement. Yes. Hmm. But um, no. Okay. When I had my dream, that was way back. That was way back in the 70s. When I went through the thing at Paul's place, when I went through the white light and, people telling us that our eyes would adjust, the portal at Paul's place, that was 2012. Oh, yeah, we walked into that fully knowing that we were upgrading. That was a portal. And when we came back from that experience into our bodies, um, yeah, things were quite different. Uh, things never were the same, though, after 2012, the 2012 portal. So that's really when I could say there was kind of a demarcation point when a lot of things really stopped making any kind of sense at all. Or is it just a perception? Our perception? I don't know, because we had changed in vibrational frequency. I don't know. So that, like I said, that's why I'm bringing it up for discussion. I've got these two events, both of which might correspond to a solar flash. I don't know. Might. Is that what it was? I don't know. I don't know. Right. Oh, yeah. Uh, I'm tired of hearing it's going to be this date, that date, some other date, and bullshit. Yeah, we're all tired of that. We're all tired of bullshit. We're tired of it. We had so much bullshit. So much bullshit. Okay, so, but that's why I'm just telling it to you like that. I'm not being an authority figure saying, oh, it was exactly the solar shift and this is exactly what it was. And, I'm saying, this happened to me. It does seem to correspond to that event. I can't prove that it is or isn't. I'm not really sure myself, but these things did happen to me. So, um, in my recollection and in my very vibrant recollection, I mean, I never forgot either of those events. They were very much seared into my memory. I mean, if I wanted to, I could probably go back to that dream decades ago and re-experience the way I felt. It was that real. Okay. It was really that real. So now that I brought that up, we're talking about the codes from the central sun. Here is what the back channels are getting about the codes coming from the sun. Yes, there are upgrade codes coming from the sun. Sun is how it's a relay station where we get the codes. Come right through there. And it's also a stargate. Our sun is also a stargate. All stars are gates. Okay. Um, so, yet, AI is also trying to send some code through along with, or in other words, AI is trying to hack. So, the discernment is required. Now, this is coming from three different sources, but in different ways, in entirely different ways. From one source is a tarot reader named Janine that's been right about a lot of things. Janine, who said that there seems to be some kind of strange things happening with our sun. Well, I've been getting the sun card too in my readings that something unusual is happening with our sun. But then we've also, from other sources, been hearing that AI is trying to piggyback on those codes. So we need to use discernment when we're receiving those codes. And Janine was saying it might be a good idea to protect yourself from the sun this weekend, this coming weekend, because something major is look like it's going to be happening with the sun this weekend. So she was thinking maybe it might be that it would be easier to get a sunburn or something, or she says, just be careful if you're going to be out this weekend. So we're not sure what it is, but we do know that we've been having a lot of spikes and a lot of flares. So, we're approaching a solar maximum. Well, we're in a solar maximum. When I was saying approaching, we're in a solar maximum. So, anyway, everything is pointing to we're going through a period of very strange things happening with our sun, and the stuff coming through our sun, and things affecting us coming from the sun. So a lot of people are getting that something is going on with our sun. So, anybody who knows anything about that, please bring it up for discussion, because I'm still putting the pieces together with that. Yeah, September 23rd, the day, and I made a video the day that nothing much happened. Yeah, and you don't know, because I mean, maybe. Oh, you had a sun experience today in the group. What did you have? Are you being facetious, or was it actually something? Well, actually, yeah, the September 23rd thing, people have been saying that for years, yeah. And it could be that some people, okay, that some people experience something that day. For instance, in one scenario, in one timeline, I'm already dead back at the old apartment, because I saw myself die there. I died there, but I didn't want to die. See, that's another thing. You do have a choice. In a lot of cases, you have a choice. I guess there may be sometimes when it's your time to go and you don't have it. I don't know if there's ever a time when you don't have a choice, but I've heard that before, is that we have a choice. Well, I keep getting that I have a choice anyway, and that people like me have a choice. Are you God? You've got a choice then. you know, Maybe it requires a certain level of awareness, but I know that I died back there. And that's why I moved. I didn't want to be dead. I still had some things I wanted to do. I mean, I bought this ticket, fair and square. I went through all that. I'm going to see the end of this show. Right, right. You guys are very knowledgeable, so I figure we'll work this out. Right. Our today's sun is definitely not the same. It's not the same, and it's definitely not the one I grew up with. Yeah, there are people who remember yellow sun, but see, now I remember that we always had a white sun, but it looked yellow because I forget, they gave some kind of jargon as to why it looked yellow. So was it really always white, or did they know it was going to become white, or what the hell? I don't know. But I remember that the sun was always actually white, but I also remember magic mirror on the wall. So I remember a lot of the Mandela effects the opposite way from a lot of people. And then I remember it switching too. I remember, like, for instance, the Mandela effect. I remember that it really was. I remember seeing the movie. I remember it was a magic mirror on the wall, but everybody said mirror, mirror on the wall, but that was their perception of it, and that was just what everybody said. But really, what I remember from the movie was magic mirror. And it was just something that everybody started saying, and so it was true. It became true in the public opinion. That was that particular Mandela effect. So I remember it differently. And I remember that it was a white sun, but we were taught in science that although it's a white sun, it's going to look yellow because of the pollution in our atmosphere. And that it would also look other colors because of the pollution in our atmosphere. So, but you've got to remember that we've had things chipping away at our magnetosphere. We're in the photon belt now. It's changing our magnetosphere. Our magnetic north is moving. Our magnetosphere is moving. Oh, cool, Indie Groove. Very cool. The visitor outside who was here to do something you didn't want, and as it got bright, he left. Cool. Cool. Manco Cuppa, I don't know who that is, but the cat in the hat. Hi, Mary Wins. Well, Scotty, you better get to it because we don't know how long we have. Smog. Well, it's a funny thing. I've been Mandela affected ever since I died, ever since my near death experience. I've been Mandela affected. I mean, it started with just a thing here, a thing there, and then it started happening like by now, it's like every other day. There's something all the time that's different. And I've just kind of gotten used to it being different. Um, and that's been for over 35 years now. And it's only gotten more so. I mean, it's faster now. It used to be something every once in a while, like there was a building that wasn't there before, or there wasn't a building there that was always there, that kind of thing. Or, uh, we were already, actually, the really telling ones are when you're with somebody else and you're both going through the effect and you're looking at each other going, what happened here? But your mind always tries to fill it in and make it normal. So your brain will come up with an explanation, or your mind, not really your brain, but your mind will come up with an explanation because that's the way that we're programmed to do. Right? Yeah. It's going to get more magical, Indie Groove. We're in a very magical time. I feel, I don't know if you guys have felt it, but I feel it's getting lighter, that the energies are getting more chaotic, but my own is lighter. Right, Chloe. Right. That's most people. Yeah. Beloved abstract. The Berenstain thing, for me, non-issue. I didn't hardly pay attention to him. I do remember my mother reading it out of the newspaper going, they mistyped this. It's Berenstain, not Berenstein. I remember my mother saying that. I didn't pay much attention to it because I didn't really watch that stuff. I didn't look at that stuff much. I was too old for those books. Well, if it was just the kind of air pollution we had, if we are losing our magnetosphere, you see, our magnetosphere is like a shield that protects us from energies from the outside. If our magnetosphere is changing, that means that oh, there. That was weird. Did you miss me? No, I didn't push any button. It just went. Now see, over my place there are no more sky streaks. Yeah, the magnetosphere is different now. We don't have as much. At the same time, they're spraying stuff in the sky to make Hey there. Wow. Maybe I better be careful what I'm saying. Yeah, I didn't touch anything. Claudia Albert. Yeah, I remember the Claudia. Yeah, been changing for a while. And let's see how long this lasts. So, see how long it lasts. So basically, I'm I am just thinking that so our magnetic north is moving, and our metasphere is what protects us from all these different radiations. That maybe it's letting in something you weren't letting in before. So there's a lot to that. Okay, I mean, yeah. Um, Actually, during the time that we were in lockdown, the ozone layer itself completely. So the ozone layer completely repaired itself. The magnetosphere, magnetic north, is changing. The atomic clocks are having to reset pretty often now. Okay, you guys, I'm going to have to start another stream because this is just not working. Okay. I will see you on the next stream. Okay. We'll keep this going, but I'm going to this stream and see you on the next one. Okay. Because they're just not letting me stay on the stream. In the meantime, I'll reboot my phone. Okay. I'll see you there. I'll be back up in a minute or so. Okay, this is the weirdest. It won't let me in the stream. It won't let me end. Well, if it was low, it would be one of those caps. It wouldn't be a cat hat. Okay, I'm gonna another stream up.